Right, hello. Um, a quick. I'm going to try and make this a quick video, so I'm going to have to gloss over a lot of stuff. I'm looking at a couple of dates here that are coming up shortly um, for connections with Madonna, potential death of Madonna again, and for the potential collapse of the Hoover Dam. And that potential collapse is to do with 9/11. That whole ritual. It's part of that ritual. Okay, so where do I start with this? What I really want to do in this video, though, is I'm going to really focus in on the 29th of September, the date for the Hoover Dam, and then I'll do the Madonna thing in the next video, because I've got a lot of bits and bobs of clips to show, and a couple of nice connections with the Madonna thing, and I don't want this video to be too long. So I thought I'd start off with the important stuff, which is the Hoover Dam. And the 29th of September. Okay, this date that I've got in here right now. Okay, I don't know why I was number doodling here. I was just messing around doing day jumps, and I'd put September the 30th, 1935 in, which is the day that the Hoover Dam was dedicated. Okay, and I went from this date here through to September the 11th, which is actually going to be tomorrow if I get this video out in time, 2023. And so what I saw here was a very interesting number, okay, a number of days, which is 32,123 days for that jump between those two dates, right? Immediately I'm thinking, that's obviously you can see how interesting the number is, because it's a countdown and then a restart, if you like. Yeah, so what we're talking about when we're talking about the Hoover Dam ritual is we're talking about coming to the end of a cycle and then starting again. So coming out of the dam is rebirth, starting again, and so we're coming to a 0 point. Okay, the same that is hinted at in 9/11 with ground zero. Okay, a start of the cycle and we're at the end of the cycle. So those two sets of references, they overlap with one another. Okay, and so it's very interesting that when we're talking about the start and the finish of a cycle, having the 3, 2, 1, the countdown, and then 1, 2, 3, the start up again. Okay, and of course the two things, the World Trade Center and the Hoover Dam, okay, tied together here as a beginning and an end. Okay, anyway, with that being said, this set of numbers is super duper interesting when we're restarting again, because if we go to my decode chart, the chart of Lorraine, okay, and if you're not caught up on this, I just suggest you go watch this video and it will explain what is going on in this chart. But we have balancing numbers, and our main balancing numbers, okay, are 11 and 18. Okay, this is the center of the table right here at this point. Okay, so these, all these numbers in here are important because they're all to do with balance. Okay, but this is the numbers at the center of the thing. Okay, anyway, with that being said, when we look at our number 10 here for the 10th cycle, if you like, or coming back to 0, okay, because 10 is basically starting over again at 0, we have an interesting set of numbers. Okay, this is the Lucas row here, and our 10th Lucas number is 123. And if we total up to that 123 and including the 123, if we add all these numbers up in this line here, we will come to this number, 321. So you see how important that is with the number that I just showed you. Okay, we have a countdown with the total for up to that point, and the actual number itself at that point is 123. Okay, super duper important in terms of resetting again. Okay, so what do I want to show you from this point on? Okay, so what, Dan? So that's interesting. So I had the initial thought was, I wonder because 9/11 is in the dollar bill already, it's already in the dollar bill. I was thinking to myself, I wonder if they're just going to do something on 9/11 again for the Hoover Dam. I wonder if they're just going to use the same date, double down, if you like. You know, like what you would do in blackjack, doubling down. Or the idea of, I don't know, it's not really the idea of double jeopardy, but that kind of springs to mind as well. Yeah, and all the stuff with actually actually Jeopardy as well on the TV, the Daily Double or whatever the hell's on that show. You know, I mean, it is interesting, and even if it, you know, I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow, but it's that idea of this. It's the same. It's kind of the same ritual. It's the restart again. Okay. My personal opinion is 9/11 represents the birth of man, and then going immediately into the matrix, and then the dam is the, if you like, the dam is the will be the breaking open of the dam will be the birth out of the matrix, the rebirth out of the matrix. Okay, hope I'm saying that the right way around. Okay, so that will be the rebirth of man at that point. So we've got the birth of man into the matrix, and then the rebirth of man out of the matrix. Okay. Interestingly, though, the dam came before 9/11. Okay, so you could look at it either way. And the interesting thing with 9/11 and this tie into the dollar bill is this whole thing with switching from what was money tied to something tangible like gold or silver through to a currency that is, you know, fiat in nature. It's not tight, it's just a piece of paper. Okay. It's got no value attached to it apart from what people will give you at the time, what they believe it's worth. Okay. So anyway, that's interesting that that ties back to that date as well. Okay. The 1935 dollar bill. Where do I really want to go with this is I really want to crack on with this 2/9 reference and how it's in the dollar bill, and then I'm going to leave it for this video and we'll move on and try and do a few more references for a few other things here, you know, as soon as possible, I suppose, as soon as I can get another video out. But so I did this number jump, right? Okay, and that was pretty interesting. I'm like, I wonder if there's any other connections between the 30th, and I haven't done them all. I just did another, I just tried this one. And do I have it here? Let's see if I can find it. This one right here, which is, again, the dedication of the Hoover Dam to the commencement of building on Tower 1 at the World Trade Center. So August the 6th, 1968. We got this set of numbers here. 11,999. And when you start seeing stuff like this, you start saying, it starts looking interesting. So we have a 9/11 reference right there. And so, you know, something else sprang to mind, and I think I'll do it now, and then we'll backtrack over it again while I've got the number jumps up, was, so when we go to the 29th of September, okay, this year, okay, this is the number I'm looking at. Okay, it's 87 years, 11 months, and 29 days, okay? So if you follow my stuff, you'll know that in this chart, there are certain numbers, right? Certain number jumps in this chart, like the 187 number jump, and 187 is also right here as well. Okay, so there's certain groups of numbers that are important. So there's our 187 there, and obviously the other numbers that we're concerned with is obviously the number 11, and the number 29 as well is to do with balancing these two numbers. And the number 29 balances them perfectly. Okay, that's important. Okay, it's not just an amalgamation of these two numbers. The number 29 keeps these two numbers separate as well, if that makes sense. Let me explain this because it is important. If you do the reduction of both of these numbers separately, okay, the way the number 29 here is generated is by adding these two numbers together. 11 plus 18 is 29, okay? What's important though is that if we were to reduce these two numbers separately, okay, 1 plus 1 is 2 and 1 plus 8 is 9. So the number 29 is super important because not only does it combine these two numbers, but it keeps them separate as well. It keeps their individual identity. Okay, the thing that happened with 9/11 is those two towers came down. By the way, these are the two towers here. Okay, one tower and two towers. Okay, those two towers came down and they were rebuilt, conjoined, together. Now, you could look at it as being the 29, tied together, or you could look at it as one controlling the other. I don't know the way people want to look at that, but for me, it's like I keep going back to this bindweed reference, where the bindweed or the if you look at the maypole, right, when they wrap the ribbon around it, it's that binding of the physical into the metaphysical. Okay, that for me is what's going on with 9/11. Okay, whereas what we need to do is we need to keep this thing separate. We need to keep these two things separate but balanced. Okay, and that's what the number 29 does. Okay, anyway, getting off on a tangent there, and I've now forgotten my train of thought. uh, this is the importance of the number 29. Okay, so it's super duper important, and I want to show you something now, because you see this number 18, this is the number of man. Okay, 6 plus 6 plus 6, 18. Okay, this is, think about what man is. Man is the physical being. The physical being, there's the Washington Monument, yeah, okay, and there's the number 8. Okay, this is a 1, 8. Okay, it's an 18. Okay, the number of man, in the way that number symbolizes the physical is pretty amazing. Okay, and you have this, there's the two eyes, and there's the nose, and there's the mouth. This is the upside down face. Okay, so it's super important, the symbolism there, right? This number, right, if we reduce this number as it is done in the 29, if we reduce this number here, let's erase. How am I going to erase this? Hang on, no, let's do this. Let's take and make this, let's erase this real quick, right here, right, and let's put the number 9 in here. Okay, so we've changed this 18 for 9. We've just reduced it down. Okay, now do you see some interesting numbers showing up, right? Let's go to a different color here, black. Here's our 9/11 right there. Check this out. Right here is our 8/9, which is the Queen's death date. Okay, what do we have opposite this 8/9? We have 9/23. Okay, this is something I'm going to talk about in the next video for Madonna. In fact, almost a year ago now, I did a video about 9/23. It's not a very good video, I don't think, but there is something interesting in it I want to show you, but that's for the next video, about this 9/23 potential death date for Madonna. Okay, so we have this queen opposite this queen, and what we have to have, I think, is from 9/11, yeah, the loss of 11, to get back to balance, we need to move over to this here, to the 29 here. Okay, we need to get back to some form of balance, which is the number 29. Okay, again, 9/29 right here, we have to have the death of the old crony queen. Okay, the Queen of Pop may be here with 9/23. We have the Queen of England here. Okay, so I don't know if you see how that fits together with that little cross that's in there, but it's pretty interesting that 929 is the point where we need to get to. If we just do that with the table, I don't know. It looks pretty basic, a pretty basic idea, but the death of the two queens here, that's what's stopping us getting back to this thing, 29. Okay. So what I want to show you now is how this ties into the dollar bill. Okay, because I'm thinking to myself, I don't remember seeing any kind of number jumps that led me to 929 on the dollar bill. Not off the top of my head, I couldn't think of anything. I was like, you can get there with there's a 2 and a 9, there's 2s and 9s on the dollar bill, 129 on the dollar bill. There's bits and bobs, but there was no specific jump to take us from a date to 929. And on the dollar bill, 9/11 is on there as a proper jump and as a proper date. 10/11 November, the 10th is on there. What other dates are on there? There's a whole bunch of dates on there. The other big one is 2/13. Okay, the 13th of February. And there's 2 or 3 more, well, maybe more than that, dates on the dollar bill. In fact, what led me to this sort of looking into this to begin with was the 129, and I started looking at 129s and how that connected together with this chart and how it connected into the 5/9 on this chart here. Okay, and how the 129th day is 5/9, and so there's an awful lot of interesting stuff, that just ties back in on itself. Of course, 2 lots of 5/9, yeah, the 2 twins. If we had 2 twins that were 5/9s, each 59, and we added them together to bring those 2 things back into balance, we're looking at 118. Okay, again, 118 is 1118 is at our center of the table. It also shows up in another spot as well, which isn't on here right now, but I've shown in previous videos. So it's a pretty important number. And again, let's just go to the dollar bill now, and I'll show you this connection that I've found. Okay, so we don't need any of that up there now. Actually, I want to get rid of that, and let's just leave it like this in case we come back to it. So you can see that cross there. Now, actually, I'll tell you one other interesting thing is if you do look up here, we've still got the Queen's death date right here at the top of here, and also down here with Madonna as well, and that tie-in with Christ with the 33. That's pretty interesting as well, I think. Anyway, so what I want to show you is this dollar bill thing, right? Because this gets really interesting now. We're going to have to do a little bit of jumping around, actually, because what we want to look at is we want to look at, where have I got it up here? Jimmy Buffett and Steve Harwell. We'll look at those here in a minute. This is what I want. The old $10 bill with Hamilton on it, okay? And we've had a lot of Hamilton references and Ham references, but I just happened to, I don't know why I even had this up again. This is just one of these things. Why have I even got it up? I was getting rid of tabs, and I'm like, I looked at it again, and I'm like, oh, obviously this S numerically could also be a 5, with the shape of the S being a 5, okay? And I'm thinking to myself, well, it does have the, there's something more to this number on here, 510, okay? Obviously it's a 5-1, a May Day reference, but 510, like the 10th of May, and I'm thinking to myself, well, it does have the fold marker for the dam on it. Let me show you this real quick for people that haven't seen this before. Okay, we want to go to this one. Okay, don't save that. We're going to lose that, but that's all right. Okay, I put the line in where you'd put the fold in here. Okay, between the two fold markers, which are these things here. Actually, let's go to a better color. These are the two fold markers, these little thingies in the pattern here. Okay, and again, it gives you the dam. Okay, when you fold that head out of the way, and this is what we've got. We've got the ruffles of the tie forming the water going over the dam. And I've just outlined the bottom of the valley here in red where the dam would be. So this would be the dam right here. If you can even see my cursor, probably not. Okay, so this whole thing here is the dam. Okay. So I think to myself, there's got to be something more with this S10, right? So I thought, well, you know what I'm going to do? I don't know why, some of this stuff, I don't know why I end up doing it. I just try things, and I was thinking to myself, kind of like with the dollar bill, there's a date at the top, and then we go from that date with a number jump. And I'm thinking to myself, well, hang on a minute, we've got a 510 here and a 510 here, and I'm like, I wonder if I just go and do my 510 and go 510, if you follow. So I put May 10th in the calculator, and I did 510 days, and lo and behold, it took me to the 1st of October. Okay, that's the Vegas Harvest Festival, but this is also, I believe, a reference to the Hoover Dam, the 101. There's a lot, I talked about this a lot early on in my stuff. The 101, the laugh out loud, the actual gematria for the Hoover Dam. I don't know if I've got it in here. No, I don't, but let's put it in anyway. That's something we'll get onto in a minute. Horatio Nelson, because he's born on the 29th of September. What am I going to put in? Hoover Dam 101. Okay, so it's pretty important. 101 is pretty important with the Hoover Dam. Okay, October the 1st. Okay, but I'm thinking, well, that's not, obviously the 29th, the 30th, and then the 1st is our 3 days. Okay, so that's pretty interesting, the 3 days. And of course 101 also has the kind of symbolism of the triple goddess as well. Okay, it's not quite perfect, but it is kind of there with the triple goddess. And that's what we've got to get back to, is a point of balance, where we've not moved into just one of those versions, if you like. The far version, if you like. The actual, the old crony is the place where we don't want to be, right? Anyway, I'm thinking to myself, hang on a minute, I wonder if I just go from 5.9 now, because of all these 5.9 references, what happens if I just go 509 days from 5.9? Well, I put it in. Holy smokes, here we go, the 29th of September. And I'm thinking to myself, well, 5.9 is in the dollar bill on both sides, as we see, this one has a number on this side and a number on this side. Okay, the 510, the 510. Okay, if we go to the dollar bill, and I've got it up here, I'll show you this one here, the old silver certificate dollar bill. We just had a reference with Hawaii. Come on, come up. There's the Washington there, and this is the dollar bill. Don't forget, this is super interesting because this dollar bill has the two lampposts on each side. Okay, there's the lamppost there, and there's one on the other side. Okay, so we have that in Back to the Future, where Marty has we have the wire stretched across between the two lampposts. Okay, I'll show you in the next video I'll show you a Madonna reference to those two lampposts. But this is, I wanted to show you this one because it's difficult to see this. It's not super obvious on the new dollar bill, okay, because they just leave one, if you see where my cursor is, they just leave one little hint of a leaf. But if you count these leaves up here, there's 8 full leaves, and then there's one leaf that's buried down in here, okay, so that gives us actually 9 leaves and 5 berries. And it's the same on the other side. In fact, it's even harder to see this one on the other side, but there is some veining here to indicate another leaf in here. And this is how you put a 5-9 and also have an 8-5 reference or a 55 and 88 reference, and still are able to keep a 5-9 reference in here. In the dollar bill itself, without getting too complicated and messing people up here, in the new dollar bill, or the one we've got right now, what was I going to say? When we do the recent fold that I've been showing you is the Labor Day fold, okay? When we do that fold, you'll notice that one of the fold lines actually goes through 4 of the leaves, just the top part of the leaf, okay? And that, I believe, is to indicate to remove those leaves from one of the counting, and I'll do a video on it at some point, but the point is there's a reason why they put the fold line going through just the top of those 4 leaves, and it was so that you would know to remove those leaves, I think, and then you come up with a reference that takes you to Christmas, essentially, at that point. But there's lots of little things like that in the dollar bill that are you kind of have to think about a little bit, I reckon. Okay, and it's like this leaf here, you know, it's supposed to be counted 2 different ways, I reckon. I reckon it's supposed to be a 5-9 and a 5-9. So there's our 5-9 date, and then jump 5-9, and the dam's right in between this thing. Okay, so you're following. That gives us our September the 29th date right here, 9-9. Okay, so that's pretty interesting, I reckon. But it's also supposed to be a 55 and 88 reference as well, because at that point those 2 things are coming back in balance. If you go to the chart, back to the chart again, you'll see, you know, these 2 things, 55 is the total for the metaphysical and 88 is the total for the physical column. These 2 things have to be there as well, and that's what we get with that reference at the bottom of the dam there. Okay, I think I want to leave the video there for this one. Okay, there's a lot more to do. There's some stuff I'm just going to glance over it real quick. So if you're, well, there's some more interesting stuff here. Let me carry on, but that's the main bit for the kind of, this is what we're looking at here. It's this cross. Okay, and we're looking at 9/11 being right here, the Queen being right here, and this is the 4-leaf clover, and potentially Madonna here, and then potentially the Hoover Dam here. Okay, so, and this would essentially be, again, we are back to the start, you know. Okay, you know, when we put in, again, with Back to the Future, let me just show you these couple of things with Back to the Future. I showed you that last decode, which was the Marty being 25 minutes late for school, right at the start of Back to the Future. And that actually took us up to Labor Day, okay, when we did the number jumps that were in there and followed that code. If we add another, if we say that this was the birth here, right, Labor Day was the birth, and we're 25 days late from the birth now for the actual, what we're going to actually see, the actual physical birth, right, which is the dam coming down. September the 4th, Labor Day, is 25 days after September the 29th. So I thought that's a pretty good one with Back to the Future again. And again, you know what's the famous lines at the start of Back to the Future? Okay, when this baby hits 88, you're going to see some serious shite. Okay, what are we going to see? This is the dedication of the Hoover Dam, so essentially the birth of the Hoover Dam, the 30th of September 1935 to the 30th of September, so the day after the 29th. So this would actually be what we'd be looking at again is in the middle of the night. It's interesting that scene is also filmed in the middle of the night. It's a little bit later than 12 o'clock, but it's filmed in the middle of the night, September the 30th, 2023. So the 29th to the 30th, we go from 87 yada 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 through to 88 years old. When this baby hits 88, well, let me continue along that thought process here, because there's some nice references in Back to the Future with this 88 again, at the 88-year-old, the boy that becomes 88, right? And that is, where do I want to go? Let's go to Jerry Lee Lewis. Okay, Jerry Lee Lewis, born September the 29th, 1935. This is the day, he's born the day before the Hoover Dam is dedicated. This is pretty significant. Okay, Jerry Lee Lewis, the famous song from Jerry Lee Lewis is Great Balls of Fire. My man, We Seek, We Find, he's going to like this reference. Okay, so we know now that if we go 509 days from 59, it will take us to 929. Yeah, a double 29 reference. Pretty cool. It's at the center of the table. Okay, we're getting a nice connection between 29 and 59. And remember, the 2 and the 5 form, when you put those together like the 52, it forms the cup of Christ. It's the two faces looking at each other. It's that vase symbolism. Okay, that is the Holy Grail. Okay, and so 2 and 5 are the mirrors of one another. Okay, so 29 and 59 are super connected. But anyway, Jerry Lee Lewis, Great Balls of Fire, and there's they did a cover of a whole lot of shaking going on, you know, so earthquakes and fireballs from heaven. Interesting. And what else did I want to say? Oh, there's another nice little connection with Back to the Future when Marty makes the jump. Don't forget there's an Elmo next to the Assembly of Christ there. Is it Elmo's Pizza or whatever it is? But again, Jerry Lee Lewis's father is Elmo Kid. I think it says Atomic Kid there as well, but that's just interesting. It's a nice little tie back. So this dude's father is Elmo. What else did I want to say about this? Actually, you could probably get really caught up in this, going down this rabbit hole here with Jerry Lee Lewis. But there is references. It's not a proper Jerry Lee Lewis reference, but it is a Jerry Lewis reference. Let me show you this one in Back to the Future. I think it's, where is it? Here it is. Listen to this. Oh, bloody hell.
Who's vice president? Jerry Lewis.
Who's vice president? Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis is another, around about the same era as well. An actor comedian guy, you know. So that's just an interesting that they were able to potentially reference Jerry Lee Lewis through that little scene there, through another actor. Okay, a couple of other things that I wanted to mention. I wanted to mention this thing because if we remember Meatloaf Where the hell is Meatloaf? Come on. The other thing with Great Balls of Fire as well, let's check out the release date, 11/11. Okay, remember 10/11 is our big day in the dollar bill, when those two numbers come together. And so obviously 11/11 is implied because 11/11 is inside the Hoover Dam with the two big let me do this reference, with the two big salt shakers on each side of the Hoover Dam. Yeah, you've got two salt shakers hooked together, two inlet towers, and two salt shakers hooked together on the other side. The two inlet towers that form the two 11s that are inside, that are trapped inside the dam. Okay, and who talks about the salt shaker? Jimmy Buffett. We just had Jimmy Buffett die. Okay, he's looking for his lost salt shaker, you know, in Margaritaville, and Margaritaville is being inside that dam. Yeah, it's the corrupted Mary. He has the, you know, the Christmas birthday, so we have that Christ reference, and then we have the September the 1st death. Okay, 9/1, which if you put that in the mirror is pi. Again, pi is in the dollar bill. Pi is heavily encoded in all of this stuff. Okay, super important, the number 19, which reflects as a pi. Okay, and then 2 days later, 3 days later, on Labor Day, we have Steve Harwell. Gematria Effect News. Zach has covered all these deaths already. I just haven't got around to doing it. And of course, he dies on Labor Day, which is a 9/4 reference, 4/9. And again, I've talked about, you know, the next day on from this is 5/9, like the connection with Labor Day and 5/9. If you go and just Wikipedia Labor Day, you'll find out that 5/9 is heavily encoded with Labor Day. Obviously, Labor Day falls on 5/9 some years. Again, he has the pi in his birthday now. Okay, so he's the 9th of January. Again, that's 1/9 pi. And again, we connect back to Labor Day. Some interesting songs. And, you know, just having these two people, you know, we've got one dying on pi, one born on pi, and we've got the Labor Day connecting. So we've got, like, what is being hinted at here, I think, is the connection between Labor Day now and Christmas. Okay, with these two fairly well-known musicians dying. Okay, what else did I want to say about this? So I kind of got off on track there. The other nice, there's another nice reference in, what was it now? Oh, the Great Balls of Fire I was talking about. Again, just recently we've had the reboot of Top Gun, and of course that is the song that they sing in Top Gun, Great Balls of Fire, and obviously it's hinted at in the reboot as well, which is heavily encoded with like the Dam Busters raid, 633 Squadron, that kind of stuff. All those old films where they're bombing, doing like a trench run, like in Star Wars, they're doing that trench run to bomb the dam. Okay, it's all the same idea. You know, who lifted what from where first? It's irrelevant. It's all the same idea, just redone. What did I want to say about that? But yeah, that ties back to Maverick, ties back to Madonna, Maverick Records. I mean, we're all over the place with the stuff, you know. You can just make so many links. So the last thing I really want to talk about then, because this is probably getting really late, this is really dragging on now. Another little Back to the Future reference with the 29, the blast from the past. And we've got this on the receipt for the almanac. Okay, we've obviously got 195. There's several numbers you can pick out of here. Okay, you know, Again, the 203, that's important with the dartboard. And obviously with Madonna now, which I'm going to talk about next. But the 29 that's on here, okay, let's not mess around talking about all the other numbers here. Let's just focus in on the 29, okay? So we do have a nice 29 right here. And finally, this scene in Back to the Future, which I've talked about over and over again. Let's just listen to this.
Well, Marty, I hope you like meatloaf.
Marty, I don't know if that turned up very loud, or it's not coming out very loud, but Marty, I hope you like meatloaf. Okay, and the meatloaf thing, again, if I could find meatloaf in here now. Meatloaf, again, the 27th of September, which is 95 days remaining in the year to go, I think. And again, the 27th, if we count on 27, 28, 29, this puts his birthday 3 days before the dam's going to break. You know, he plays Hoover. He gets stabbed by a skyscraper in the squeeze with the 2 twin towers coming down. Okay, he is in Fight Club, which is absolutely plumb loaded with 9/11, and I believe that scene that he gets killed in is also a reference to the Hoover Dam breaking. Okay, note the water in that scene. You know, leap of faith, Hoover. Okay, I don't know what else to say. We've gone through a load of Meatloaf stuff. We've gone through album covers and all that kind of stuff. Just very interesting. And of course, Meatloaf Day. I thought, you know what day is Meatloaf Day? 118. Okay, October the 18th. 118 numerology, and again, that is the 59 plus 59, and that's the 2 twins coming back into balance. 118. Okay, and again at the center of the table, you know, if we get this rubbish offer here out the way, you know, this is, you know, really important. Okay, we're amalgamating this 11 into just a 118 here. It actually shows up. Let me show you this as well. Let me put the hidden 4 row in. Okay, so this row doesn't normally appear in the table, but again, 118 right here, and that is again a 4-9 reference. Okay, and again, Labor Day this year, 4-9, and also the rebirth day of Christ, which is Easter Sunday, was on the 9th of April this year, so 4-9 again. Okay, I think I'm getting close to the end. Hang on. I gotta put the last guy in, Nelson. Okay, Nelson is also born on this day, on 9/29, and one of the most famous columns, at least because I'm English, I suppose I know about this one, but Nelson's column. Okay, if you're American, obviously it's going to be Washington, the Washington Monument, but Nelson's column. Okay, phallus symbolism. Okay, and this phallus symbolism is to do with the resurrection. Yeah, it's to do with and that, you know, that obviously goes back to Osiris and all that stuff as well. But at its basic core, you're either flaccid or erect, you know. And you know, the erect man is how do you, well, he's hard. Okay, instead of soft. Okay, and so remember, the metaphysical is all to do with the kind of wishy-washy softness and gentle and all those kind of parts of symbolism. This is why it's the feminine and everything. And then the hard, you know, the physical side of nature is to do with the hard things, you know, the things that you can touch. Okay, so obviously the erect phallus symbol is hard, you know, that's the symbolism there. Okay, this is the key to knowing about the physical side of nature. As long as it's in balance with the metaphysical, the key thing about it is all the rules are already written in the physical side of nature. Okay, excuse me, blooming hell. Um, they're all written in the physical side of nature. Okay, it's the Ten Commandments written on the stone. Yeah, that's the stone is nature. Yeah, the physical part of nature is the stone. Yeah, the atom. Yeah. So this is why the phallic symbol is um, super important. Okay. Um, the problem with going into the metaphysical is the rules aren't necessarily written there, and this is what gives man the opportunity to trick other men. Okay, is when you can draw somebody else into your own reality, into your own metaphysical reality. Yeah, when you get trapped there, you're inside the matrix. Yeah, so this is the importance of the sun or the phallic symbolism, is that those rules are set there. Okay, but one can also be trapped by the physical side of nature as well, in terms of uh, materialism. Yeah, being controlled by material objects as well. That's a different side of that thing. So we've got to be careful with the context of all these references. Too whiffly waffly, but anyway, Nelson's column. We've got a lot of interesting things that connect back with Nelson. Obviously, that connects. One of the things that I thought about was the connection into The Simpsons, and of course they have that famous 9/11 reference in The Simpsons, and I just saw that on this video from Flat Earth Dave, who's got. I like watching his stuff. That he always has some funny stuff on. He was showing an old video of the dollar bill folds, okay, from back, after the 9/11 event. If you fold these the other way around, what you tend to get is dam collapsing symbolism. If you do the inverse fold here, I don't know how to explain it, but maybe I can show those folds at some point if I have time. But you end up with, like, the leaves here in these scenes end up forming like water coming over, like a building, if you like, turned up on its edge. It looks like water coming over a dam. I'm trying to think. I think it was Jonathan Kleck that did most of this early stuff, and I've seen it all over the place. And I think he's got some references to the Hoover Dam as well. With, I don't know which bill it is though. It's not the $1 bill. It's one of these higher denominations. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting. But they did have a. I think the here it is. Yeah, here it is. This is the famous 9/11 reference. But note the dollar bills there. This is the reference they're making with the money there. But again, I don't think anybody's. I honestly, I've not come across anybody really decoding the dollar bill. I mean, you can find stuff on the owl and that kind of stuff, and there's stuff on the all-seeing eye and that, but there's nobody doing. I've not come across anybody doing what I'm doing. Be interesting to see if there was somebody out there doing it and what other stuff they found. Yeah, the Nelson's column thing. Obviously, Nelson. There's an interesting thing with Nelson. It connects back to. This has got to be the end now. Nelson actually dies on October the 21st. So you'll see that number in Back to the Future on the time circuits. So that's kind of interesting. What else? So we have that reference back to 112, which is also another 5 now. I think that's 59 days left in the year. The 2nd of November. Might be. I don't know if I'm right on that or not. Without checking it. But one other thing that I wanted to show you actually, real quick, is if we do go to the 29th here, you can see there's a flip over. Okay, so you're going 929, okay, or 299, which again, 299. If we go back to the 23rd, it's not 299, but it is two. Where is it? The 23rd. It's 266, which is kind of interesting. I tell you what's interesting about that though is that that's also an inversion of the day before this, which is 922. Again, if you count up all the leaves and berries on the dollar bill, I believe there's 226. A combination, you can get a combination of 226 from all the leaves and berries on the dollar bill. So that's kind of interesting with the 22nd of September moving into the 23rd. Obviously the 23rd. This is the equinox this year, and going from the 23rd into on from that point into autumn, into fall. We also have the reference to what do we have the reference to here? We have the reference from going from Virgo into Libra, okay, which is really important as well, because Libra, obviously, if you hold your two arms out like you were holding up the scales, okay, you're a cross, okay, and that's balance, okay, and obviously it's represented with balanced scales. So that's Christ, okay, and Virgo, of course, is the Virgin Mary that comes before that. So, and again, look at the numbers here with the 22nd. It's 100 into 99, 99 red balloons. We've got 101 before that as well, but the 100 with the 100 pennies in the dollar bill. And again with 929 or whatever the way you want to say that date, it's 93, which of course was the day before Labor Day this year. Okay, and as we switch, we actually go to 93 again. Okay, 39, 93, and again 92 days left in the year, so another 29 reference. So this is kind of interesting with the flip, 929 to 92 here, and the 93 flip in as well. Okay, I think that's it. I can't remember if there's anything else I wanted to say about Nelson. His death, obviously, I don't know what else to say really. His ship, the Victory, okay. That's it. That's got to be it for the video. I've probably forgotten a ton of stuff out of there as well. Hopefully that isn't too long. Alright, hope you enjoyed, and I'll do the Madonna 23rd video next if I've got time. Alright, cheers. Alright, bye.